Good morning, friends. Today is my 21st class on accounting. The topic that I have started yesterday, that is cost sheet, and is a continuation of that. First, in this part I will cover the areas. Number 1, the meaning and definition of cost. Number 2, classification of cost. Then cost sheet in detail, cost sheet, and after that I will prepare manufacturing account. And on completion of manufacturing account, I will take up final account once again with trading profit and loss account, balance sheet, with manufacturing account, trading account, profit and loss account and balance sheet. So it is a very voluminous area that I have taken up. And on completion of that, I will take up the topic final accounts of non-trading concern. There I will consider 2 issues. One is income and expenditure account and receipts and payments account. Clear? And before that, I will try to cover up one important topic, and that is cash book. Clear? So this is so it will be a good number of classes in the days coming. Every day you will be getting one presentation in my Insta and in my Facebook page also. Please be tuned with this and make yourself up to date with what I have taught. Don't lose even a single class, even the 5 minutes of a particular class. So if you lose that, if you leave that, you will be discontinued. Okay, and there will not be any parity of thought. So if you want to maintain the parity of thoughts, want to go into the depth, you want to understand the topic meaningfully, minutely, and with due importance, then you must follow all my classes in detail, in every detail. Okay. And after going through the classes, if you find any problem, please comment. Please make comments, and I will take up the topic once again. And the important areas, those are making some problem to you, and that will be cleared. Okay. So friends, that is about your preparation and our class. Now the topic today is cost sheet. Yesterday I have done 2 topics. Okay. I have completed cost, meaning of cost, and then classification of cost. So, okay, classification of cost. Classification of cost. These 2 parts I have completed. What I have told you right now, I am making a short presentation of what has already been told yesterday. What is cost? Detail given. Please follow the class. What is not measurable in terms of money is beyond our jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction rests on all the sacrifices which are measurable in terms of money, that is known as cost. That is, to get something, I have to give up something what I have given up, and when it is measurable in terms of money, that is the cost of that thing. So cost is nothing but the money expenditure incurred for any given purpose. For the total money expenditure incurred for a given purpose, I told you 2 things yesterday. Cost to the buyer. The buyer, whenever you are buying something, buying some potatoes or buying some grapes or buying some any stationery or buying some clothes or buying any electronic gadgets or whatever it may be, whenever you are getting that, you are making the payment. So it is the payment made by the buyer to the seller. Number 1. Number 2, when you consider it in the context of an organization, especially a manufacturing organization, it refers to the total money expenditure incurred for getting the goods ready for sale. So it is the total cost of sales that amounts to as the cost to the organization. Okay. Now that cost is segregated into different parts, but for our accounting and costing purpose, I have segregated into 2 parts. One is there are the basic elements. Now, first of all, the elements. What are the basic elements of cost? There are 3 basic elements. Elements means, first of all, it is the material element, then goes the labor conversion part, and third one is expenses. I have told you what is the production. Production is the process of transformation of goods and services, goods, raw material to finished goods. Okay, so you need the goods. Okay, and all sorts of goods, all that is known as material, and Conversion process depends on the human being, okay, labor. So it is the labor charges and the different expenses incurred in terms of the production of goods and services, that is known as expenses. And these materials, there are some good number of materials. Yesterday I took up the example. If you are the producer of furniture, so while producing furniture, what is the amount of wood is needed for getting a almirah ready? It can be well spent. But how much glue, how much paint, how much nails it requires for the purpose of finishing the material, it cannot be spelled out directly. And again, there are a good number of labors. There's a carpenter, the mistri, or the labor that can be spelled out clearly. But there are other expenses related to labor which are very trivial in nature and cannot be identified with a particular product. So also expenses. So the total costs I have divided yesterday into two parts. One is identifiable cost and others are non-identifiable costs. Identifiable costs are those costs which can easily be identified with the number of units. Okay, which you can directly say how much, what is the cost for a particular unit, which you can directly say, that is known as direct costs, and that is known as identifiable costs. Identifiable costs are charged direct to the product. Are you getting me? Identifiable costs are directly charged to the product, and because it needs no other calculation. So this is known as identifiable cost or direct cost. Identifiable, it can be easily identified to a particular product. Direct, because it is charged directly. So why it is the identifiable cost is called direct cost? It is called direct cost because it is directly charged to the production unit. Clear? Next one. Identifiable cost. Identifiable costs are those costs which cannot be identified to a particular product. Cannot be identified to a particular product easily. Then what do I do? What is the amount of nails required? What is the amount of glue? What is the amount of the labor for the small boys who are helping by performing in their performance of different small activities, like in sweeping the floor, giving tea to others, getting something from outside, or making something reach to the outside areas. So these are the labor charges which cannot be directly identified. And there are expenses too, basically rent of a particular house. So you see, consider it is the factory house, it is the production center, it has its own rent. What is the rent? What is the amount of rent? What is the amount of electricity that has been allocated, that has been charged to the product itself? It cannot be directly, you cannot do it directly. There are some different ways that we first add them and then we distribute them among the different service production center and service center. Then service center cost again is distributed to the production center, and then after that the number of units produced to that department, the total amount you have got, it will be divided by the number of units produced. So there will be some indirect way. Adding the materials for first is the collection of the expenses met, collection of the information regarding the expenses met. Next, adding them, okay, then distributing them each and every in the different service centers and production centers. Then service center costs are divided among the production centers. Then production center, the cost of production center we have got, and the number of units produced there. And it will be divided by the number of units produced there, and in that case you will get the unit cost of indirect expenses. Okay, so it is a special area of cost accounting, and that area is known as distribution of overhead. Okay, so it's a very good chapter, very important chapter, and that distribution of overhead is a more or less lengthy process, cannot be charged directly, but they are charged. Okay, that is in some indirect fashion. So that is known as a non-identifiable cost, and they are also termed as indirect costs. Okay. Now, so that is the total cost. Again, all the direct costs are regarded as the prime cost. Okay, because this is the cost without which, without that, no other costs are. Other costs are incurring the other costs is meaningless. It is not possible. If you do not have the wood, if you do not have the plant, if you do not have the log, what is the need for glue, paint and others? Okay, if you do not convert the material from the raw material to the finished goods, is there any need for any factory rent? Anything others? Okay, so all these are the prime costs is the basic cost. Without these other costs are meaningless, and that is the name prime given. Prime means in Bengali or Hindi it's known as mukhya. Mukhya means the basic cost. Okay, and to that we should add all the indirect costs. So all the identifiable costs are direct material, direct expenses, and direct labor and direct expenses. All these are known as prime cost. Okay, and you see that thing I have done it. I have done it. Direct material. Okay, direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. That is the total prime cost. Clear? Prime cost is the basic cost without which other costs are meaningless. Clear? So you see, this is a pro forma of a cost sheet. Direct material refers to the raw material consumed in the process of production. Yes, are you getting me? So direct material refers to the raw material consumed in the process of production during a particular period. Okay, it is always during a particular period. Direct labor is the productive wages. The wages paid to the which can easily be identified, direct wages, and the direct expenses. Direct expenses is basically very low in numbers. Okay, royalty on production is a very, very important item under the head. Okay, then direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses constitute the prime cost. Clear? Now yesterday what I told you. So you have got the prime cost. Clear? Any problem? I think no. If yes, give me make comments. And then this is prime cost, and then there are other indirect costs. What are the indirect costs? Indirect material, indirect expense, labor, and indirect expenses. All constitute what I told you, the totality of indirect cost. And the totality of the indirect cost is known as overhead. Yesterday I have told you. Overhead means above the head. Above the head of what? Above the head of prime cost. Okay. So it is the question of overhead comes if you have already incurred the prime costs. Okay. If you have incurred the direct costs, then the question of overhead comes. And these overhead, I have already told you, are charged to the product in some different way. Now these two overheads are classified into different heads. Number one, in our while I took up profit and loss account, I told you no, the expenses of an organization are segregated into production expenses, purchase expenses, okay, purchase expenses, production or manufacturing expenses, administrative expenses, selling expenses, and distribution expenses. In the same way, overheads are segregated into these parts. One is factory overhead or production overhead. Here, next one, administrative overhead, and then selling and distribution overhead. Okay. Now, how do you do that? First of all, you think you have incurred the prime cost, and then to do that you should add factory overhead. So factory overhead should come. Factory overhead, just you think. Factory overhead, you consider first clear the idea of this factory cost sheet. First of all, prime cost, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. Okay, all these are the expenses which you have made in the factory, right or not? Because you are in the process of production. And then you should add factory overhead. Factory overhead refers to the different factory expenses. The different factory expenses which have not been covered up. Okay, those which are not direct in nature, those which are absolutely non-identifiable factory costs. Okay, and that is known as factory overhead. Okay, clear? So direct material, direct labor, direct expenses constitute prime cost. After that, we should add factory overhead. Factory overhead refers to all the expenses incurred in the factory which are not in the nature of direct, which are not identifiable. Okay. So now, by getting the factory overhead, so say you are getting what? You are getting the file. Okay, sorry. am giving some numerical example, okay? Then it would be very easy for you. Say that the material you have utilized 50,000, okay? Here, it is the 50,000 materials. The direct labor is 30,000, okay? Now direct expenses 10,000. So what is that? Direct expenses for 10,000, direct expenses is right under the head value instruction. Okay, and that is what? That is your prime cost. So how much it is? It is 90,000. So 90,000 is your prime cost. Clear? Now the different heads, I have not mentioned the items separately, but the production overhead stands for 20,000. Then what is that? It is the total factory cost. Here, so you will have got the factory cost. Now then factory cost has got two parts. Clear it, try to clear it minutely. Factory cost has got two wings. Okay, one is prime cost. Prime cost means all the identifiable cost incurred in the factory, and factory overhead is the totality of the non-identifiable cost, non-identifiable cost incurred in the factory. Clear? So factory cost has got two wings. This 1,20,000 has got two parts. One is directly charged 90,000, that is prime cost, and then factory overhead 20,000. Clear? Now to that factory overhead we should add the administrative overhead. Here I have given the head only. There are different units, there are different heads under which the overhead expenses are made. And what are that? Say this is our factory overhead, 1,10,000. The administrative overhead 30,000. Say what is that? That is known as 1,40,000. It is the cost of production. Okay. Then factory cost is also termed as production cost. Okay. And it is also known as production cost or works cost. Works cost. Okay. The factory cost is also known as production cost or works cost. Okay. Now there may be some confusion which I had in my inaugural days. The production cost and cost of production. What is the difference between? So these are the issues that have not been made by any teacher in my days. But I am trying to give you the clear identification of that. First of all, what I have to find out? Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. I got the prime cost. Prime cost is the factory cost incurred for which are identifiable in nature. And this factory cost, in this factory you have made some other expenses which are not direct, which are non-identifiable, and that is known as factory overhead or production overhead or works overhead, whatever you say. And this to constitute prime cost plus factory overhead constitute factory cost or production cost or works cost. Clear? Now to that production cost, say it is production cost. I am writing it is production cost. Now production cost has got two wings. One is prime cost and the other one is factory overhead, production overhead. Then to that I am adding administrative overhead. Administrative overhead are the expenses, are the heads of expenses which we have incurred for administration and management of the organization. And that is 30,000, and that constitutes cost of production. Then what is the difference between cost of production? Cost of production and factory cost or production cost. Production cost has got two constituents. One is direct cost. Direct cost, that is prime cost. Totality of the direct cost, that is prime cost plus factory overhead, and that constitutes production cost or factory cost. And to that production cost we add administrative overhead, and that will constitute cost of production. So cost of production is production cost plus administrative overhead. it will be cost of production. Clear? And to that cost of production, we should add selling overhead, say selling overhead 18,000 and distribution overhead 6,000. So what is that? It is 24,000. Clear? And it is known as the cost of sales. So it is 1,66,000. 66,000. That is the cost of sales of the organization. It is 1,66,000. So with this imaginary figure we have got, that is the total goods which have been sold by the organization during this period, made you meet the expenses amounting to rupees 1,66,000. That is the total cost of your sales. Now to that amount you should add your profit element. How much profit? If you want to earn 20% profit out of that, so 20% of that, okay, yeah, you should add for 30%. 64. Oh yes, yes, then it is 64. Now, if you think you want to earn 25% profit, that is a 1/4 profit. 1/4 profit is how much? 40,100. No. 40,100. So you add that and you will get the cost of sales, the sales price of the goods you have sold. Sales price of the goods you have sold. Clear? Okay, any problem? I think there should not be. Again, I am elaborating. Then I will take up one numerical example, one numerical problem with with some numerals given. Okay. First of all, cost sheet. Cost sheet is a statement of the cost you have incurred during the period for the purpose of production, for the purpose of selling the goods. So, cost of production. Cost sheet gives us the ultimate information of the cost of sold, the cost of the goods you have sold during a particular period of time. Okay. Now, this cost of sales has got different dimensions. Some are direct in nature, some are indirect in nature. Directs are known as prime cost and indirects are known as overhead. The prime cost again has got three dimensions. One is factory, direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. It will constitute prime cost. To prime cost, we should add factory overhead or production overhead. What is the difference between prime cost and factory overhead? Factory overhead is the incidental expenses, the expenses in different nature which cannot be directly charged to the production, and that is known as overhead, factory overhead or production overhead. So, adding prime cost and when we add administrative overhead to factory cost or production cost, we get the cost of production. So the distinction between cost of production and production cost is that production is absolutely the cost incurred in the factory. One part is prime cost and the other part is production cost, production overhead. But cost of production is production cost plus administrative overhead. So it is bigger in amount in comparison to the production cost. Clear? And to cost of production we add sales, selling overhead and distribution overhead, and we get the cost of sales. And to cost of sales, when we add the profit element, it constitutes the total sales price. Clear? So that is the total thing about the cost sheet. Now take up one example, and I am trying to make a solution to that complete example. Just you see. Here I have given the item direct material, that is raw material consumed. I have given a direct figure, but in the problem, the material you are in any problem, no such direct amount is given. The total amount of raw material consumed, this cannot, it is not given. You have to find it out. How to find out? Say that is, there will be an elaborate statement. Okay, that is why you see I have taken up 4 columns, 4 columns for amount. Okay, 4 columns. because there will be some addition, some deduction. Okay. Now I am trying to solve that one. Raw material consumed, I have to find out. So it is first part, direct materials. Direct material and raw material consumed direct is the same thing. Now how to find out? Here there are good number of information from where you have to find out. The raw material, opening stock 10,000, closing stock 12,000, purchase during the year 1 lakh, return 6,100, brokerage on purchase for 4,000, and railway freight and others 5,000. From here you have to find out the raw material consumed. You have purchased, you have used raw material, okay. Raw material consumed during the year. A straight figure is given, but no straight figure is given to you right now. You have to toil a bit to get it, okay, to get the figure. How do you, first of all you think, you have purchased raw material, say 50,000, and at the flag end of the year, your store is saying that you have a unused stock of rupees 10,000. So what is the amount of material used? The amount of material used is 40,000. That is 50,000 purchased, 10,000 in stock. Okay, that has not been used during the period. Okay, so 10,000 deducting that. But at the same time, whenever you started the year, there was some material in stock, and it was it was 8,000. So what is the original amount? You had in your stock 8,000. You have purchased amounting to rupees 50,000. So it is total 58,000. Out of that you have a stock of rupees 10,000 raw material. So what is the amount of raw material used? Amount of raw material used is 48,000. Now say you have purchased the raw material of 50,000, but some raw materials were not up to your order, okay, not as per order, so you have returned some, okay, or it may be defective, or for any other reason that has been returned. The total purchase is 50,000. Now you have returned something, so that will be deducted. That is minus. And again, now when you have, for purchasing goods, you have paid some brokerage, you have paid some railway freights and others. So all these have enhanced the cost of your material purchase. So all these have to be added, and that part I am doing. So friend, you will take it in properly. Okay. Opening stock, I am writing in opening stock of raw material. Okay. Opening stock of raw material. How much it is? It is 10,000. Opening stock of raw material, it is 10,000. The raw material purchase how much? 1 lakh. Add purchase. Purchase during the year. How much it is? Purchase 1 lakh. Now I have returned how much? I have returned the amount of rupees, material of amounting to 6,000. Return. How much? 6,000. So the need purchase is how much? Need purchase is 94,000. Clear? So I have the opening stock of rupees 10,000. I have purchased 1 lakh, purchased the goods amounting to 1 lakh, and out of that I have returned 6,000. Clear? Now I have made some expenses for purchase, regarding purchase, brokerage on purchase, railways and freight. So it should be added. Brokerage and railway freight. Railway freight. What is the amount? 4,000 and 5,000. So it is 4,000 and 5,000. So it is 1,03,000. It is the cost of purchase of the goods. Okay, that is the cost of purchase of the goods you have used. That is this one. How much? Opening stock of purchase. Purchase of rupees 1 lakh. You have made a return. You have returned these 6,000 goods amounting to 6,000. So you are getting 94,000. Okay. Now you have made the costs brokerage and you have made the expenses brokerage and regular freight. It is 4,000 and 5,000 respectively. So the total amount stands to 1 lakh. Clear? Now you see. Now you bought these two. The goods are amounting to rupees 1,13,000. Okay, 1,13,000. Clear? And from this you should deduct less closing stock. That is the amount of closing raw material. Okay, that is the amount of material which you have already purchased and which is included over there but has not been used during the year. During this year, it is amounting to rupees 12,000. Okay. So it is the amount of raw material 1,01,000. Here, so it is the raw material consumed. Raw materials consumed. Here, so the direct material used by our organization is during this period is what? 1,01,000. Here, how I have got it? I had the opening stock of material of 10,000. Okay, at the inaugural day. 10,000. And I have purchased goods during the year 1 lakh. Out of that, I have returned goods of rupees 6,000. So net purchase is 84,000. And to that, we should add the expenses which we have made for making the goods purchase. Okay, for effecting purchase, it is 4,000 brokerage, 5,000 delivery freight, so it is 1,03,000 total amount. Now this 10,000 and 1,03,000 is 1,13,000. Out of that, the stock which have not been used during the year, and that is 12,000. So during this year, I have consumed materials of rupees 1,01,000. Clear? So that is our raw material consumed. Clear? Now the list is very long, so there are other expenses which I have to meet over here. That is why I am I have done it. Okay. Now I am rubbing this part because I have to calculate these things. Okay. Now I am writing raw material consumed how much? 1,01,000. So this is a detail of the computation of the raw material consumed. Because of the paucity of the pace, I have done it. Okay. Here, so it is raw material consumed is 1,01,000. Then what should be direct labor? Direct labor refers to the labor charges for the purpose of conversion of the material from the raw material to finished goods. And what is that? You see, that is manufacturing wages. Okay, here manufacturing account is 40,000. So manufacturing wages is the indirect labor which you have paid for making your goods duly produced. So I am writing here. Manufacturing wages. It may be termed as productive wages or works wages or whatever it may be. Okay, so manufacturing wages. How much it is? It is 40,000. Now you see that outstanding wages. Outstanding wages is how much? Outstanding wages is 12,000 and advance wages is 4,000. Okay. Outstanding wages means I have already told you. Outstanding wages in the other occasions, previous occasions I told you outstanding. Outstanding is the amount. Outstanding wages is the amount which is due to be paid during the year but has not paid off. Okay. So you have got the service. You have got the service, but you have not. You have got the service, but you have not paid. So it is your liability, and you have to pay the amount. So what is the amount? Outstanding wages is 12,000. Add outstanding. Add outstanding is how much? 12,000. So the total amount you have paid for, the total amount which you have to pay for wages is rupees 52,000. Out of that you have paid 40,000 in cash and outstanding rupees 12,000. And again someone might have taken, very often you have to pay make some advance payment of the wages. Services not received but it has been paid. So it is your asset. Okay, and advance wages over here is 8,000. Of the less advance. Less advance wages. 8,000. So the amount of, this is the amount of labor. Okay. How much it is? It is 44,000. So friends, for getting our prime cost, we have already taken up two issues. What is that? One is direct material, 1,10,000, and direct labor, 44,000. Now, so because of this paucity of the pace, I am just rubbing it and writing the neat figure. Okay. Now, then comes direct expenses. Okay, direct expenses here, friends, you see, in this problem it is not given. Say I am thinking, I am writing it one item. Royalty on production, 10,000. Say. Now this is direct expenses, okay? Royalty on production. On production, 10,000. Clear? So we have got how much? 1,55,000, and that is the prime cost. Okay, prime cost. Okay, so this is the first part of our cost sheet. It is the prime cost. Prime cost is the totality of all the expenses which are direct in nature, affected for carrying on your production. Clear? Now, to that, then you should add what? Factory overhead. Factory overhead or production overhead. In a short, I am writing FC. FC means FOD, factory overhead. Factory ODs, factory overhead. Factory overheads or production overhead, whatever you may call, in whatever name you may call. Now see, what a factory overhead? Factory overhead refers to those expenses which have been incurred in the factory but which cannot be directly charged. The part that have already been directly charged, they have been they have already been considered while preparing, while computing prime cost. And now the expenses which are not direct in nature, indirect in nature, which are to be charged in some indirect fashion. You see what are that? Factory expenses, you see. Factory expenses. Fuel, power, rent, electricity, these are the different items. lighting, heating, and so these are the expenses which cannot be directly charged to the product. Okay, so they should come under this group. What are they? Fuel and power. Fuel and power. Fuel and fuel, whatever you call it. Rent, electricity, lighting and heating. For the amounts, so in this column, these columns have been made ready for the purpose of making any addition. If you have made any, if you have kept any due, so it should be added. So that should be done over here. So I am writing this over here. Rent power is 5,000. Then rent 8,000. Electricity 6,000. Lighting and heating 4,000. Clear? So these are the different expenses incurred for the purpose of production which are non-identifiable in nature. Now there are other things. Salaries to works manager. Generally the salary refers to the payment made to the white collar worker. White collar, that is the manager, okay? And the managers are managers are in charge of management and administration. So salary in its tune, it is in its own concept, it is an administrative moment. But whenever you are giving salary to the factory manager or works manager or production manager, it means it is production related cost, okay? So that is why I am writing salary to work staff, okay? Salaries to WST, work staff. How much? It is 15,000. And salaries to works manager, it is 20,000. Here. Now see, salaries to works manager 20,000. Salaries to works staff. Wages to Darwan. Darwan is also is an indirect expenses. Wages to Darwan. How much? Wages to Darwan 8,000. Clear? Now depreciation to plant and machinery or repair to plant and machinery. I think you know that plants and machinery which are being used, they must be maintained. The cost of maintenance, depending on maintenance. Repairs to plant and machinery. How much it is? It is 4,000. There. Then come other two actually loss. Just you see, just you consider raw material directly charged, manufacturing wages directly charged, production, royalty and production directly charged. So all these are the total cost, total direct cost, that is known as prime cost. Then comes factory overhead or works overhead or production overhead. So these are the costs which are incurred for the purpose of production. Okay, for the purpose of production and affected in the cost of production or the factory or in the works area, but which are not identifiable to the particular product. So they are indirectly charged, and indirect costs are known as overhead, and that is known as factory overhead. Okay, under the heads items are fuel and power 5,000, rent 8,000, electricity 6,000, lighting and heating 4,000, salaries to wages, salaries to work staff 15,000, salaries to works manager 20,000, wages to Darwan 8,000, repairs to plant 4,000. Okay. Now there are some issues. I have already told you. I took up these issues while preparing programs on depreciation. the concept of depreciation. Depreciation is the loss of assets due to use and wear and tear. Whenever you are using any machinery or plant or factory building, this is subject to be reduced in value with the passage of time, as a result of use and as a result of passage of time. So that loss is not evident. That loss cannot be seen today, but it is a continuing loss which you can understood, which you can realize after the end of a good quantum of period, say after 20 years or 15 years or 10 years or 5 years. Okay, so that loss in the value of the assets is known as depreciation. Now this depreciation, if it is the depreciation of factory assets, if it is depreciation of the factory assets, it will come under the head factory overhead. If it is the depreciation of office assets, then it will come under the head administrative overhead. And if it is the depreciation of selling, the assets used for selling and distribution, it will come under selling and distribution overhead. Okay, but here in our problem, the depreciation of factory building and depreciation of plant and machinery, all these are factory issues. So they should come over here. So it is depreciation of FB. FB means factory building. Okay, it is 5,000. And depreciation on plant and machinery is 6,000. Depreciation on plant and machinery is 6,000. So this is the total item. How much it is? 5, 8, 13, 23, 38, 58, 58, 60, 70, 81. Here. Okay. Now this is factory overhead. So how much we have got? Prime cost plus factory overhead. It will constitute what? It will constitute A. Production cost or works cost or factory cost. Okay. Clear? So this is the total cost incurred in the factory by the organization during a period, and this part of cost sheet is considered for preparing manufacturing account. Clear? So this part. So tomorrow with this information I will prepare the manufacturing account. Clear? With this information, and after that, after preparation of the manufacturing account, I will complete the remaining part of the cost sheet. Clear? So thank you, friend. If you have any problem, just make a comment in my Insta and Facebook. So thank you very much. So my friend, my ardent request, enjoy the day, enjoy the Christmas, use your mobile, have your all other amusements and sources of pleasure duly tuned, but tuned mostly with the study. Because if you lose it, you will lose it forever. Thank you. Have a nice day.